Hello and welcome to Greenfield's first ever Cranky Festival! I've been spreading this rumor all afternoon, but I feel like I have to make an announcement that there's another Cranky Festival on the East Coast that claims to be the largest confluence of Crankies on the East Coast. And I just have to say that we beat them by 1. So I'm just gonna declare this the largest confluence of Crankies on the East Coast ever. And it's a free event in the park, so that beats everything. So I just want to say thank you so much for coming. I'm the organizer of the event. My name is Bella Levavi. I've declared myself Greenfield's artist in residence. And we are going to start with a very special Cranky. It was my 3rd ever Cranky I've ever made with my dear friends and roommates, Esther, Solomon, and I made the art. Esther is in the back raising their hand, and then my other roommate, Mo, and I wrote the Cranky. So we're gonna start off the festival with our very special Cranky. So thank you all for coming. Hi, I'm trying to throw a lobster party. Can you help me?
So, you wanna throw a lobster party, do you? First things first, how many people are gonna be there? No, wait. I'll answer for you. No matter how many you invite, you'll get 10 to commit. And of those 10, only 6 will be strong of hand and will enough to crack a lobster's claw. You'll need 7 lobsters, 1 per eater, and the 7th to look in the eyes and ask, "Are you sure we have enough food?" Next, you're going to pick the lobsters up at 4 p.m. sharp on Friday afternoon, before Shabbos. You will realize that the undercarriage of your car is dangling off of the vehicle like a loose tooth, and will make a pit stop at the dealership from whence you purchased it 2 weeks prior. They will insist that you leave it there overnight, so you will gather your future meal in your arms, claws snapping like castanets and all, and walk up the hill to your apartment. The 7th lobster will hum to you. 100 bottles of beer on the wall, 100 bottles of beer. You take one down, pass it around, 99 bottles of beer on the wall, 99 bottles of beer on the wall, 99 bottles of beer. You take one down, pass it around, 98 bottles of beer on the wall. When you get home, you will have to clear out your freezer to make room for the lobsters, who must wait there, suspended between our world and the next, until the water of their destruction comes to a boil. There will be nowhere for you to store the venison that you froze on your last exotic meat kick, so you will feed it to the lobsters to free up the space. The 7th lobster will say, "Really? Roadkill for our last meal? Is that all you think of us?" But the rest will chorus, "It's local and sustainable. Deer are the sea bugs of the highways." They will tear meat from bone while you prepare your kitchen for their slaughter. With the lobsters full in your freezer, you will go out and forage wildflowers from your neighbor's carefully curated flower beds. This will be necessary for the occasion, a funeral.
Wait, this is my birthday party. It's not a funeral.
Birthday death, creation, destruction. Life is a fountain.
Why is life a fountain?
Okay, so it's not a fountain. It's your birthday. Once you gather enough flowers for 1,000 proms, you will separate them into 7 neat bouquets and will place them ceremoniously around the table in the center of your living room. Then, you will summon your charming, beautiful, smart, wealthy, caring, Harvard graduate, cancer researching, butch boyfriend Sal, who has a uniquely Bostonian relationship to shellfish. Sal will look right into the eyes of the 7th lobster and say, "Your time will come soon." The 7th lobster will just wave the club of his pincher in their face. It knows there is no use rationalizing with a Bostonian. Sal will select the singular sharp knife from your block of 20 duds and, with their free hand, will reach into the box of half-frozen crustaceans. They will grab the one on the top of the heap. Though it will have been in the freezer for the better part of an afternoon, the lobster will wriggle and snap in their hands. Sal will think that it is simply reacting to the change in temperature, but when set down on the cutting board, the lobster will mistake its feel for the singular solid place under the sea, the dance floor. It will take the wood of the board for the panels of a ballroom and will dance the dances of its youth, reliving every bris and bar mitzvah and wedding it attended throughout its lobster life. It will perform its most furtive rendition of the sprinkler, the scuba diver, and the dolphin. It will try to signal to its comrades to join it in the wave. But their brains will be half frozen, so they will not hear its pleas. With a steady hand and an outstretched arm, Sal will do what they do best, perform an act of service. They will bring the tip of the knife down between the dancing lobster's eyes and slam the heel through its midsection. They will drop it in the already boiling pot of water and repeat this 5 more times. Sal will pick up the final lobster from the crate and see that it will have not only procured a cigar, but it will have somehow lit it and will be puffing on it in their hands, blowing fat rings of smoke around the kitchen. "Hey, Sal, you want to make a deal?" the 7th lobster will ask between puffs. "How do you know my name?" Sal will reply. I'm a prophet. Of course I know your name. So, let's talk business." What the deal the 7th lobster will offer is, I cannot reveal. But Sal will think about their love for you, their staunch butch commitment to chivalry, and their aversion to smoking indoors. Sal will do the thing that all others who have encountered the 7th lobster before them have failed to do, and refuse it. Before they can think about the terms of the deal for too long, before they can allow themselves to languish in the 7th lobster's proposed gifts, Sal will grab the 7th lobster by the last vertebra of its tail and plop it in the water, alongside its less holy comrades whole. Your guests will arrive and deliver hugs and kisses and gifts and the request that you open the windows. You oblige because it's the right thing to do, and also because your home smells like the bottom of the ocean. Everyone will gather around the lush table, compliment your bouquets, and put on the bibs that you stitched the names of your guests into one by one. It will immediately become clear who grew up in the Northeast and who did not, based on their level of squeamishness around the table's centerpiece, a bowl heaped with 7 lobsters. Your guests will shout across the table, "Pass the cracker!" And you will have no idea what they mean. But understand this, they will not be referring to a person, but to the instrument used to extricate the lobster meat from its home. You will watch as centuries of protective evolution are undone by two pieces of metal joined with a hinge. You will watch Sal lift the seventh lobster from the bowl at the table's center, cracker at the ready, and you will stop them. You know that the seventh lobster is yours to consume. The seventh lobster will be passed around the table, each guest blessing it with their palm on its way to you. You will take it into your hands and try to look into its beady eyes, but it will evade your gaze. Still in your hands, the seventh lobster will raise a mighty claw and snap it twice, creating a crack in the dam you constructed in your mind that allows you to host this party unencumbered by the guilt of your Jewish ancestors. The sound of the stone cracking will mirror that of the shells around the table. The seventh lobster will say to you, "You thought you could cheat death, but death is always at the dinner table. Go ahead, eat me." A trickle will begin to leak through the fissure that the seventh lobster created, and in the water leaking from the dam will be a vision of your mother saying, "A moment on the lips, a lifetime on the hips." The trickle will flow into a stream, and her mother will appear in it, fretting about whether or not to just eat the damn trafe in her new American home. She will swirl past you as the stream rages into a river. Her mother before her will emerge, worrying about having enough food to feed her family in the Warsaw Ghetto. The river will open into a sea that will swallow you whole, and you will be swept to its sandy bottom. You will scrabble for sure footing, and when you find it, you will realize that you are on a dance floor. You will look to your left and see your mother's mother's mother, Yetta. She will be worrying about the flood and subsequent drought that will destroy her cabbage crop. You will both be lobsters. You will return to your human form with your hair drenched, dripping onto the tablecloth, still clinging to that seventh lobster. But now, you will know the true meaning of a lobster party. The seventh lobster will know this too. It will meet your gaze for the first time the whole evening, and in a voice audible only to you, will say, "Happy birthday, Esther." You will open your mouth and swallow it whole.
All this sounds great, but how do you know what's gonna happen?
What's a fishmonger but the angel of death? Happy birthday, Esther. Say hello to Yeti for me. And that's how you throw a lobster party.
And our next crankster is coming all the way from Brooklyn. Ariella Heisey is going to teach us about worms momentarily.
I want to go play on the train. I have to walk around.
everyone. This is Wander, the Wailing Worm. Under this garden, there is a city where a community of worms exercises their daily right to life below ground. The worms go to school. They wait in line. They host potlucks, and sometimes they even write plays. The worms live beautiful lives full of collaboration and earth. The worms build elaborate tunnels and homes. They plan major intersections and public parks. There are many different types of worms that cohabitate. Some are long and thin, and others are short and thick. Some have eyes, and some have stripes. Some have many friends, and some move alone. There was one worm that was smaller than all the other worms. This worm's name was Wander. Wander the worm had a great sense of smell. She also had a beautiful voice. When Wander sang, it made the seeds sprout. And when Wander screamed and cried, the sound spread like mycelium through the town. Despite Wander's beautiful voice, she never felt acknowledged. This was because Wander was so small that no one noticed her. When all the young worms went to school, they would never pick Wander to burrow tunnels with, because they couldn't see her. When all the worms went out dancing, they would bump right into Wander, as if their eyes were closed. When all the worms went to the grocery store, they never asked Wander what she wanted to eat. Wander only felt a glimpse of happiness when she sang with the choir. Even though the others couldn't see who made them sound good, Wander loved to notice how proud everyone around her felt when she sang along. But Wander's invisibility had a great effect on her emotions. She felt frustrated when no one noticed her outfits or asked her to be on their dodgeball team. No one included her in their activities, and she had no friends. Wander wished that she could be seen, but even though she took care in her appearance, no one seemed to notice. If Wander couldn't be seen, she decided that the least she could do was to be heard. Wander's cries flowed from her effortlessly. She screamed for every time that she was ignored, and she wailed for every friend that she was not able to make. Wander wailed and wailed. Her powerful voice traveled through the earth, reverberating through the senses of every worm. And because her sorrows were so heavy, her cries saw no end. While the other worms went about their lives, they began to notice what felt like a ringing in their ears. Slowly, this ringing became a cry. While heading to the compost pile, one worm asked another if they heard that noise. The screaming, yes, I felt it all day. And all of my friends in my book club heard it too. Do you know what the voice is saying? The voice is crying, it's wailing, like it's begging to be found. This went on for days, and days turned into weeks. The constant wailing of Wander became part of the worms' lives, and they began to listen closely. Wander noticed that the other worms were talking amongst each other about Wander's cries. This made Wander scream louder and longer. Their need to be heard was insatiable. When Wander finally felt noticed, she ceased her cries and began to speak. The other worms heard this ominous voice surrounding them, and they listened. All the worms shared this experience of hearing, but could never see where the voice was coming from. The voice was omnipresent, and their only conclusion was that it must be the voice of a goddess. Wander grows into her role as a goddess well. She answers the other worms' questions about life and love, and she withholds answers when they ask for too much. The other worms began to imagine what their goddess might look like. Was she a worm in the sky? Was she a worm in the core of the earth? Was she a very large worm and all the other worms simply lived on her back? As Wander continued to speak to her people, they built effigies in her imagined image. They built temples in her name. Time went on, and as the worms continued to worship their goddess, Wander continued to age. Wander noticed that with time, her voice began to fade. As Wander's voice faded, the other worms became increasingly eager for their goddess's answers and praise. The other worms would be lost without her. So they hurried to build even larger statues and palaces in hopes that the voice would grow strong again and lead the way. But one day, Wander died, and the once ever-present voice fell silent. The absence of Wander's cries put the worms into a panic. What caused the loss of this goddess? They turned to each other in blame. Perhaps it was the tile artist who mislaid the grout in the temple floors. Perhaps it was the glass blower who shattered a light fixture intended for a shrine. The worms began to fight, dismayed by the mortality of their goddess and lost without her voice to guide them. The worms screamed and cried at each other. They wailed, and their tears began to soak the earth around them. There was so much crying and fighting that their flowing tears, combined with the collective shaking of the earth, caused a flood to rise. More and more water collected, and in the midst of their anguish, a great swell pushed all the worms up out of their burrows and onto the street. Generations of temples, statues, and shrines were ruined. All of their work intended to please their goddess was destroyed by their inability to function without her. And so, there lay the worms, forming glistening constellations of pink and purple on the dark asphalt. The end.
One more time for Ari from Brooklyn. Now we got two wonderful Shelburne Falls, just incredible artists who do every single medium imaginable. I look up to them dearly. We have Hannah and Colleen.
Well, this is very exciting. Look how many of you there are out there. Give yourselves a little round of applause for being at the Cranky Fest. I'm Hannah, and this is a cranky that goes along with a song that I wrote about an owl. And the great thing about this song is that there's only one chord, which means that it will be very easy for you all to hum along. Colleen's gonna tune up, and then we're gonna get you on pitch. Is it working now? What happened? Is it working? We're good? Okay. All right. Okay. This is the chord. It's kind of like a G minor-ish thing. So if you could just, this is the chord, as I was saying. If you could just kind of hum a G minor, like. There are lots of different choices within the chord, so you have lots of time to experiment. And there are no wrong notes, only poor choices in the moment. So here we go. We'll slow it fast too.
we're just doing some surgery in the corner, so don't mind us. But next up, we got Lee coming all the way from Baltimore. We met each other at Baltimore Cranky Fest, and Lee goes back to Western Massachusetts 5 generations. We're excited to have you. Okay.
Don't blame me. My name's Lee. This is my cousin Cameron, who's going to accompany me. Our fathers are brothers. We have an uncle, the third brother, named Whit Connor. He's no longer with us, but he wrote a song called Dark Angels back in 1972. And that's what inspired this crank.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Okay, cool. There's familiar faces I didn't know would be here. Can we get another big round of applause to the other performers that have gone so far? It's been so enchanting. And a huge round of applause too for Bella for organizing all of this. Like, really amazing. A round of applause for Zadie for running sound. This cranky, the only context, I'll just give you a little bit of context. One is that it's very windy, which there, as you may know already, but this cranky touches on a Finnish mythological character who has a relationship to the wind, so that's kind of cool. She's with us, maybe. And the context, too, is that this is a reimagining of a character that is usually vilified within the stories within the Finnish mythology that she comes from. And this is a curious endeavor of how her story might be told if it's not about good and evil, but just about a person being a person. So, without further ado. This is a story about Louhi. You see, Louhi was a witch. Some circles would call her an herbalist, a death doula, a caretaker, for she spent gracious time with the sick and dying. She found medicine within the earth, and her keen eye and closeness to life's ephemerality meant that she always noticed what others seemed to pass right by. The loneliness of that moved her to show people what they were missing. When her 3 young daughters would run around and play, zipping past the trees in pursuit of catching each other and stealing whatever goodie they had in their hands, she would interrupt their running, crouch down with her hand at the height of her forehead, and just below it, swaying, a leaf, suspended in the air. See this? Do you see this leaf suspended in the air? She would say to her daughters. And the girls stopped, mesmerized by this trick that their mother was playing, watching it bending and swaying in the very present breeze, nodding, "Yes, we see it, Mother. We see it." They'd momentarily be entranced, but that didn't last long. Not before returning to their tomfoolery, one nudging the other, enticing a tug of the sleeve and a giggle tussle, and in their momentary glimpse away, Louhi would, and the leaf would be gone. Where did it go, Mother? Where did it go? She'd lean closer, crouching down at their level still, and say, "You took your eyes off it." Disappointment rattled the girls, and they would blame each other for letting it slip away, but Louhi calmly settled them with a reassuring tone and a second chance. Pointing off into the distance, the girls followed their mother's hand with their eyes as their disappointment turned to enchantment. Another leaf, swaying below a tree branch, untethered to anything. Look, Louhi would say. There's always more to find. Don't you see it dancing, playful like a silly friend? Yeah. What with all your running, you'll miss it, say it never happened. But there she dances, there she floats, a color just before the snow. Ooh, her daughters got the message and began to sing along. If we watch it closely, maybe it will stay. Or at least we'll hold it longer in our memory. Yes, there she dances, there she floats, a whole song held on just one note. Now, as I said, Louhi was a witch who had harnessed the wind and kept it inside the caves of Pohjola. She had the power to control the weather. It was in this instant, her daughters marveling at the free-flowing leaf suspended in the air, that she ushered some of the cave winds to join them. And off the leaf flew, out over the lands of Pohjola, where it saw depths of vast gray, like the shades of the moon. To an uncurious eye, these colors would be monotonous, boring, uninteresting. But to the imaginative type, they are varied, multiplicitous, ever-deepening, and rich. This was Pohjola, the land of sleep, the land of darkness. As the wind began to settle and return to the caves, the leaf landed upon the grayscale hills of Pohjola at the edge of autumn, just before the first snowfall. Louhi's daughters grew up to be observant and attentive thanks to their mother's lessons. And one day, they held counsel about something they noticed, bringing it to their mother with concern. Mother, we've noticed something. The moon. It's about the moon. She is feeling neglected by the people here. They are busy with other things. They are running around, preoccupied with harmful stories that hurt each other and themselves. They are fighting with each other and inside their own hearts. We're noticing each night, Mother, the moon. She is crying. She has been forgotten. They no longer turn their faces to her in wonder. They just work through her cycles, trying to solve these harmful stories in ways that don't make sense. Oh, Lohi responded. You know what we must do, my dears. What must we do? What must we do? We must steal the moon! Yes! It is time to get up to some mischief. Oh, but what if they don't even notice that the moon is gone? All that work for what? One of the girls expressed her concerns. We'll steal the sun, too. After only a couple of days, they won't be able to blame the darkness on neither the nighttime or a new moon. They'll realize when the moon's silvery edge does not return and no day breaks, just what they've lost. The four women cackled with glee. Oh, we'll need somewhere to hide them. In one of the long tunnels of Pohjola, we'll build doors, many doors, with all different types of locks. So each daughter offered to build 3 doors, strong and strangely locked, for a total of 9. Oh, the gift we will give the people, to learn what they're missing, what they take for granted. So while the daughters began to craft doors with various materials and spells, Lohi began to transform into a hawk. Her arms becoming feathers, her nose folding into a beak, and she flew up into the sky to capture the sun and the moon in one fell swoop. The people woke up in sheer darkness, sleeping through the beginning of it, thinking it was still nighttime. Eventually, sleep left their bodies and they wandered outside to see. Have you been sleeping for eternity? I've been sleeping for eternity. Where is the sun? Where is the moon? Among the sound of wings in flight, they heard a voice say, "You took your eyes off it." As the darkness outlasted their wonder, they panicked. The townspeople urged the local blacksmith, Ilmarinen, to build a silver moon and a copper sun. So he tried, despite disbelief. What else was he going to do? He climbed to the top of the birch tree to hang the silver moon, and climbed to the top of the pine tree to hang the copper sun. But it didn't work. No light shone. I heard there's 9 doors guarding them, the townspeople cried. They urged Ilmarinen to build all the keys that he could possibly fashion, a skeleton key of every variety. I heard there's 4 witches cackling. They urged him to build chains for the necks of the witches, weapons to fight their magic. They worked Day in and day out, though no day could be perceived, tirelessly to bring back what they had lost, to no avail. Louhi watched them trying, witnessed this and laughed. How silly! No copper sun or silver moon could replace their own. No weapons or chains could restrain me. No skeleton keys could get through the doors my daughters have built. But Louhi watched them trying and could see beyond these frantic and flawed choices of a scared and sleep-filled people. At least they know what they've lost. At least I know now that they'll fight for it. And in the world of this story, it was that simple. To show the witches that you'd fight for it with action, even flawed action, was enough to unlock the doors which kept what they'd stolen. The witches watched with proper mischievous satisfaction as the veil was lifted. And the people rejoiced and celebrated the return of not only the sun, but the moon once again. Yeah. And they sang with a familiar song. If we watch it closely, maybe it will stay. Or at least we'll hold it longer in our memory. Yes, there she dances, there she flows. A cycle asking us to slow. Now, some stories paint the picture of Louhi to be that greedy hag, rejoicing in malevolent theft of something that the people loved. And maybe those versions of her story made an important or valuable impact in a certain time or a certain place. But from where I stand, this is the version of Louhi's story that feels relevant to the world I see. And in this world I see, there are still people trying, despite everything we are losing and everything we have already lost. This is good.
Hi story we're about to perform. And then she's never made a cranky before, but I said we're gonna make a cranky about it. So this is your invitation to tell me stories and then work with me. And I'm gonna make a cranky with everybody who asked me to. So just putting that out there for everyone.
So we bring you a story from the Talmud, which is the central text. Which is the central text of Rabbinic Judaism. And the citation here is Shabbat 33b, if you want to go look up and find the original story. It's a great one. But you'll hear our version of it this afternoon. So, once upon a time, 3 rabbis and a convert walk into the temple. One rabbi says, you know, the Romans, they're not that bad. They built us markets, they built us bathhouses, they built us roads, and they built us bridges. The convert was quiet. And then Rabbi Shimon said, well, they only built us roads and bridges to tax us. They only built bathhouses to pamper themselves. And they only built marketplaces for their ladies of the night. The convert was still quiet. So the convert went home, and he told his family over dinner what he had heard at the temple, all the rabbis discussing. Later the following day, his daughter went to school and told her whole class what Rabbi Shimon had opined. It has its own story to tell. Markets were booming. The gossip was spreading in every bathhouse and along every road and bridge. All until a knock on Rabbi Shimon's door. Caesar himself has heard the rumors. They want you dead. You must go into hiding, a friend whispered through the crack in the door. So Rabbi Shimon and his son Eliezer, they left at once. And they ran to the synagogue, into the walls of the synagogue where they stayed in hiding for 40 days and 40 nights. Every day, they were served 1 crust of bread and a drop of water from Shimon's wife. After leaving their measly meals, she would give them each a kiss on the forehead and tell them, I will never tell your secret, and sneak out the back door. But Rabbi Shimon and Eliezer grew worried that she would tell the Roman governors where they were hiding because women are weak. So they left without telling her, searching for a new hideaway. And as they approached a cave in the mountains, they watched a spring burst out of the dry ground. As the spring poured out, a carob tree grew feet in seconds, becoming full-sized and filling with fruit in 2 minutes flat. God had given them a place to hide. Inside their hideaway cave, the father and son would wake each morning, undress, and bury their feet in sand. Then they would bury their knees, then their hips, their stomachs, chests, and shoulders would all be engulfed in the tiny grains of sand, all the way up to their necks. God had once promised Abraham his children would be as numerous as the grains of sand on the seashore, but in the dark days of the Roman Empire, then took on a new meaning: Shimon and Eliezer's refuge. Buried in the sand, Eliezer and Shimon would discuss the intricacies of Torah. At night, they would emerge, dress, and pray. Upon finishing, they would undress and bury themselves up to their necks once again. 12 years went on this way, until they felt they had answers to all the great mysteries of Torah, and they felt they knew the inside of Moses' brain. They were superior study partners, each one pushing the other until they found unsurpassed knowledge. One morning, a knock came on the cave door. Eliyahu Hanavi had a message. "Everyone's forgotten about you," said Eliyahu. "No one even knows who you are. Even Caesar is dead. Come out of the cave. See the light of day." They emerged first timidly, and then in full force. And what they saw, they did not like. The Jews of Judea were in the fields plowing. They were in the fields sowing. They were in the fields harvesting. Shimon exclaimed, "No one is studying Torah. They are engaging in the temporal life of their own sustenance." A light beam came from his eyes and burned the fields. Eliezer glared at a cart full of wheat a man was pulling. This too burst into flames. Everywhere Shimon and Eliezer looked at the mundane tasks of life immediately began to burn. But suddenly, the Kolbat, the voice from heaven, yelled down at the men, "Did you emerge from my cave to destroy the world? Go back. I don't want you here." They listened. They were good Jews. Back to the cave. Back to the carob tree and the spring. Back to discussing Torah buried up to their necks in sand. After 12 months, they heard from the Kolbat again. "Emerge!" So, they emerged from their cave. The 12 months had softened Shimon, but Eliezer was still full of rage at the people who were going about their lives. Eliezer glared at the fields, and they burst into flames. But as Shimon followed his gaze, the fire was immediately extinguished, and no damage was done. Eliezer glared at a market cart which began to burn, but as Shimon looked, the flames went out. They continued their fire dance this way, and soon twilight began to fall. And they saw an elderly man running by with 2 bunches of myrtle. And Eliezer stopped him and asked, "Why the myrtle, old man?" Without stopping, the man responded, "It's almost Shabbat. The myrtle is to honor her." Shimon asked, "But why 2 branches when 1 would suffice?" But the man, still not stopping, still hurrying, responded, "I need to. Shamor v'zachor. We remember Shabbat to keep it holy, and we observe Shabbat to keep it holy." Shimon gazed at his son. Look how beloved the mitzvot are to the Jewish people. And Eliezer was put at ease.
again, everybody. Slightly challenging conditions. Hey, I was informed after the last cranky that, well, you can see, I've got the backlit kind, which is great for indoors and dark situation. So nobody saw the shadow puppets that were part of the last cranky I did.
I saw them.
Oh, you did? Okay, great. So some people saw them.
I like
Good.
when the dog-
I've got a couple shadow puppets with this. You're probably going to miss them because some of them are tiny.
Since I've had him 2 times,
But right at the outset, you see these 2 characters down here?
Yeah.
At the very start, hopefully it'll show, I've got a little shadow puppet of those guys.
We can see them.
Yay, good. Okay. So that they play a role at the start. That's really all you need to know, in case you can't see them.
One day, while her friends were tromping through the woods, she decided to climb a tree. It was a good climbing tree once you were up there. Hours went by and her friends grew restless. "It's time to go," they called to her. "No, you guys go ahead. I'm going to stay here and see if I can't just turn into a bird and be up here forever." Eventually, the sun started setting and her friends gave up waiting. They started home, looking back at her over their shoulders. She waved. The next morning, they returned. "Won't you come home now?" they asked. "No." "Why?" It seemed like a person might get cold and hungry and thirsty if they just sat in a tree all day and all night. "Why do you want to stay down there? Everything is so hard down there. There is too much to do, too many people who want to be pleased." "I want to be pleased. Up here, the sun sits sweetly on my skin and the wind plays with my hair." She could feel the shifting already. Her parents came next. Her mother stood there and gazed up at her daughter. "Come on down, darling, okay? I can make your favorite lunch. We can have whatever you want." "I'm sorry, Mom, but I really don't want to come down." Desperation welled in the mother's eyes. "We can go on a shopping spree. We can go to the mall tomorrow and get you whatever you want." "What have I done, dear daughter, to drive you away? I have loved you and cared for you. I put food in your belly. I held you and I drove you to soccer practice. I have woven myself around you. What more do I have to give you? Tell me and I will. Tell me what I need to do to make you want to come home to me." Her daughter, muted by her aviary unwillingness, said nothing. Her mother left, betrayed by what she loved. Her father yelled up, "You've upset your mother. Get down here this instant." But of course, this is what kept her aloft, terrified to re-enter the world that created mothers who could be made to feel so sad. To her, he looked like any other insistent animal, angry it could not get what it wants. Unable to bear her strangeness any longer, he left without saying another word. She was relieved they had left, but sad they were gone. She told herself that she was going to have to live with this missing when she became a bird for real. The next morning, when she was still not home in her bed, parents marched back into the woods with reinforcements. A firmly rooted firefighter bellowed up, "Young lady, come down here this instant or I will bring you down to your parents." Her eyes met his. She felt no fear. "I am not a lost kitten stuck in a tree. You are no hero. Come and get me." As he approached her, she simply climbed higher. The way he moved angrily, heavily, clumsily through her branches made it clear to all that bore witness that he was an animal of the land. The treetops unfurl beneath her, nothing but ever blue sky above. Her sky, the sky that would soon be as much her home as this tree. He slowly climbed down in defeat. If you aren't home by tomorrow, we will have no choice but to cut this tree down. She knew he was right. She could, of course, go to a different tree, but they would cut them down. They are already cutting down so many trees. Why hasn't she grown her feathers yet? The rainforests are on fire, and did you know that they struck down every tree in Iceland, every single one? She wondered what they thought when they felled that last tree, what sound it made when it crumbled. What sound would she make when she hit the ground? This thought of self-betrayal shocked her. No, she would not fall. She would never hit the ground, never. She paced from branch to branch. There are forests burning. There are so many children suffering. There were boys who will want to have sex with her someday. She is supposed to burrow into the ground, to stay in one spot, to excavate herself until that little kernel of knowing buried deep in her chest is lost. She wept and wept and wept. She wept for her friends who did not have the courage to follow her. She wept for her poor, sweet mother, who was probably at home right then, weeping back at her. She wept for the birds fleeing the great fires, wishing them strength, wishing to be with them. Exhausted, she curled up on her perch. The breeze was the exact same temperature as the air around it, which all felt like an extension of her own skin. Perhaps she had wept out the last of her groundness, or perhaps the world just took pity on the girl who could not bring herself to climb back down. She closed her eyes and was not afraid. She was melting, churning, becoming. Her eyes opened. There was just enough light to gaze upon her deliverance, the moon shining on her new feathers. Her tiny heart raced, and she spread her wings out wide, rejoicing in the way they caught in the breeze. Quietly and without much fuss, she jumped. A moment of panic as she fell through the air, just enough to make the thrill of flight that much sweeter. Give it up for Esther's Crankie.
Everyone was. Hi! As I was saying, this is a real sing-along, not just a humming situation. So, this is a cranky that goes along with a little ditty called Mole in the Ground, which is a traditional folk song. And these are some verses that we've crafted to be about animals. So, what I'm expecting is that you all, very capable participants, will be able to make the sounds of said animals. The first of which is a mole, which doesn't really make a sound, but you're good. But if you could just go like dig, dig, that would be really good. Dig, dig, try it. Dig. If you have a grown-up with you, make sure that they're digging like a mole. Okay, and then there's going to be a bee in a hive, which would be a good buzzing situation. Buzz, buzz. Yeah. And then there's a baby bear, which I really haven't decided what sound a baby bear would make, but maybe kind of something like that, yeah. Like a little, yeah, perfect. And then there's gonna be a squirrel, so, you know, like squirrel. And last but not least, a robin. Yeah, oh, that was beautiful. Okay, great. And if you catch on to the lyrics, you're welcome to sing those too. They're pretty standard, I'd say, as far as lyrics go. Good enough for folk music. Here we go. Wish I was a mole in the ground. Wish I was a mole in the ground. Dig, dig. If I was a mole in the ground, then I'd root those mountains down. Oh, I wish I was a mole in the ground. Dig, dig. Okay, they're getting the hang of it. Wish I was a bee in my hive. Buzz, buzz. Wish I was a bee in my hive. If I was a bee in my hive, into honey I would dive. Oh, I wish I was a bee in my hive. And I wish I was a little baby bear. Wish I was a little baby bear. If I was a little baby bear, I'd follow mama everywhere. Oh, I wish I was a little baby bear. This is the best baby bear sounds I've ever heard. How's that squirrel? Oh, you might have to just, yeah. Well, the dowel thing.
Oh, I see.
I'll for the back.
There we go.
Fixed it. Okay. Woo. Squirrel. Wish I was a squirrel in my dray, which is the name of a squirrel's nest, is a dray. Wish I was a squirrel in my dray. If I was a squirrel in my dray, everything would be okay. Oh, I wish I was a squirrel in my dray. And I wish I was a robin in my nest. Wish I was a robin in my nest. If I was a robin in my nest, it would be the very best. Oh, I wish I was a robin in my nest. And one more time we'll sing mole in the ground, even though it's not up there anymore. Wish I was a mole in the ground. Dig, dig. Wish I was a mole in the ground. If I was a mole in the ground, then I'd root those mountains down. Oh, I wish I was a mole in the ground. Excellent singing. Okay, thank you all for coming to Greenfield Crankie Fest. This is the last Crankie of the festival. It was written by Cesar Alvarez, and we are very inspired by it. A lot of the puppeteers and Cranky people up on the stage today are from Free Pile Productions, a new puppet production company. Check us out. So this entire festival was put on with a grant from the Crossroads Cultural District. Unfortunately, they gave me half the amount of money I budgeted for. But I was still able to put it on, so we're gonna come around with a donation bucket, and if anyone wants to give
donations, feel free, no pressure. And we're also gonna, just like the last Cranky, invite everyone to sing along with our song. So we printed lyrics for everyone, so please sing along, even if you don't know the song.
And the tune's kind of doesn't really exist, so just give it what you got.
Yes, I know.
I'm enjoying your mythical
I wrote a song once, and when I sang it, every egg broke, every egg within 100 miles. I wrote a song once, and when I sang it, every egg broke, every egg within 100 miles popped like bubble wrap, soda can in the freezer. I wrote a song once, and when I sang it, every egg broke, every egg within 100 miles cracked like a cartoon wine glass when the opera singer sings. Diner line cooks were at a loss, restaurant owners cried, bakers improvised with soy milk and bananas, clerks and bag boys at every grocery store set about toweling the mess, pushing the white and yellow goo into bags and drains and puddles. The oaks rolled down aisles, pipes clogged, roaches and ants ate well. Scientists mused and were briefly sought out by confused local news affiliates. minutes to explain the occurrence. What had happened was quite simple, but what they couldn't explain is why it had never happened before. I wrote a song once, and when I sang it, every egg broke. Every egg within 100 miles popped like bubble wrap. Even after weeks had gone by, people all over the world were hesitant to buy eggs. Prices dropped, and it wasn't the mess that people were scared of. It was the fact of the invisible connection between every egg that freaked them all out. People were scared, and I can understand why. If my eggs were somehow linked to my neighbor's eggs through the invisible fabric of space-time, and if at any moment there could be some sort of synchronized disruptive resonating between them, then forget it, I'll go without eggs. I wrote a song once, and when I sang it, every egg broke. Every egg within 100 miles busted open like a china cabinet in an earthquake. I bark at you, I shake too, I hold on to grains of truth. Wet noodles, I'll be fine. All will be good and all will be well. I am princely and forgotten and forgetting. I am hanging on around the edges. I am singed and infringed upon. Peacetime music, glassy dream ballets left unfinished. The possibility still twitching like a motion sensor nightlight. Lovely but awake, so many notes, so many holes left to be dusted. Oh, I wrote a song once, and when I sang it, every egg broke. Every egg within 100 miles. I wrote a song once, and when I sang it, every egg broke. Every egg within 100 miles. I wrote a song once, and when I sang it, every egg broke. Every egg within 100 miles. Happy Cranky Fest!